Welcome to Collecting Chaos. My name is James, and today we're going to work on that cover for Zorro number 3 from 1966. But we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to do a new method. Well, it's not really a new method. It's been used for years, but it's new to the conservation community for comic books. So before we do that, though, we're going to check out the interior wraps of that same comic. So, yeah, let's get over there and check it out. So let's take a look at these pages. This is the first wrap right here. And the second wrap. Now, it's still got a little stain on there, but it's not bad. It's a whole lot better than what it was. And I think if I had used maybe if I used the new method that I have for the cover, which you'll see after I go through this, I might have gotten rid of that stain too. Here's the third wrap. The fourth wrap. Wrap number 5. Now you see I have quite a bit of stain left on that. But I was still experimenting with the vapor rust. And I experimented with another page from another comic using the same method that I'm going to show you when I show you the cover. And I got rid of the stain completely. And that's for that adventure comic I'm working on that I'm not showing you. I may show you the completed, but I doubt it. And this was the first one I did, and you've seen this one already. So overall, not bad for first attempt on the stain migration from the staple, or the staple migration. So how was I able to take this comic to go from this and turn it into this? Follow along with me as I show you this new method I've found for removing stains and working on Silver Age comics without color loss. Okay, the first thing we're going to need is some Mylar. Now this is a 7mm sheet of Mylar. I believe I got it off Amazon. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description below. And we're going to spray that down with a little soapy water. This is Dawn dish soap. I was hoping to have the unscented kind for this, but I didn't feel like driving the 18 miles there and 18 miles back to get it, and the Dollar General that is close to my house doesn't have it. So we're going to lay this down on the Mylar. We're going to spray it with soapy water again. Then I'm going to take another Mylar sheet and put it over it. And my big squeegee that people aren't crazy about. They don't mind the small one too much, but this big one they're not happy with. I don't know why. I like it. And we did get a complete separation of the two covers, but I'm not worried about that too much. I'm more worried about getting these stains out. This is unwieldy. I'm going to get my small one. Yeah, I like the small one better. I was kind of expecting the spine to split the rest of the way. I'm surprised it didn't before this. But we're going to just do the same thing again to the back side. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to put some more soap on there, and we are actually going to separate these slightly. If I can. There we go. Now, where did I get this idea? Well, I kept watching these conservation movies on posters. And I thought, you know, that would really be cool if we could do that with comic books. So I tried it. I ordered the Mylar sheet, and I tried it on an old adventure comic that was in really bad shape, and I didn't expect it to work too well, but actually came out really nicely. I need to get another tool. If I can find it. All right. And what we're going to do is I'm going to lift up this sheet if I can. And we've got some folds here that I want to turn over, because the best time to do that is when it's damp or wet. And yeah, these are just coming off, so I'm not going to worry too much about them. I am going to have to do a little leaf casting on this. All right. Let's turn it over again. And I'll have to do this a couple of times to try to get all of that staining out, or the tide marks. See this a little better. I can see some yellow already. And you need enough so that you can, so that the water will just slide right over it. But the Mylar should keep the ink intact. That is the idea anyway. Trash can down here to catch some of the water. Some of this nasty yellow water that is coming off of this. Now my regular work table, I just don't have the room to do this on, so I'm doing it on one of my kitchen counters. And I don't know that all of the tide marks are going to come out of there, but it does look like it's fading slightly already, which is a good thing. Let's turn it over again. You got to be careful when you're lifting up the Mylar, because sometimes it does stick to the paper. I also tested this out on on an interior wrap, and it worked pretty good. The interior wrap had some of those black stains from where the staple gets nasty. And so I took a piece of blotting paper, put some of the vapor rust on it, and put a little bit of blotting paper over it. Then I put the plastic back on it, turned it over, and did the same thing to the other side, and those stains are completely gone now. Put some more. This is going to take a little while. Spray both sides one more time. Then I'm going to let it sit for a little while, and I'll turn the camera off while it sits because I have a couple of other things to do. Oops. Oh, that's the right one. Flip it one more time. Separate the two pieces of Mylar. See how that's pulling it up a little bit? So I'll have to go from the other side. Spread that around a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go take care of a few other things I need to do, and then I'll come back to this. I had realized that I hadn't eaten anything today, so I figured that I'd go ahead and do that. Let's get some of this excess off. A lot of brown coming out of that, a lot of yellow. And we're going to flip it over. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's got an awful lot of tannin is coming out of that, or the brown that you get from, yeah. I think I'm going to do one more soap wash, and then we're going to do a rinse, or 10. And then we're going to check it out and see how it looks. I'll go ahead and, after the rinse, I'll go ahead and add some calcium hydroxide and some methyl cellulose to it. And then we're going to let it dry out just a little bit, not completely dry. And do a little leaf casting. Yeah, we want to do a rinse now. This is just water. I want to put it on both sides before I start running it around. Come on. Come off of there very easily. Thank you. Yeah, you can see there's got water underneath it. And the idea is to get the soap out of it. I don't know, that tide mark was really bad, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it all out of here. If I even get most of it out, that'll be a good thing. The main thing is we don't want to lose any color if we can avoid it. Flip it over again. Spray it again. Come on, come on, come on over there. Yeah. It wants to be stubborn. We'll move that over there. Flip it over again. Now, where did I get this idea? I might have said this already. I don't remember. But I got the idea from watching them conserve posters. I figured, hey, if it works for posters, why wouldn't it work for comic books, for the comic book covers? Like I said earlier, it works with the interior wraps as well. Yeah, it's a little messy. You do need some space to do this in. But if it works, it works. And it worked great with that adventure comic cover. Of course, that one was already split. I think one more rinse on both sides, and then we'll go ahead and add some calcium hydroxide and methyl cellulose, if I can get this to come up. Okay. Sometimes I have trouble picking up the Mylar. All right, what we're going to do now, we're going to add a little methyl cellulose and a little bit of calcium hydroxide. Get my syringe here. This has calcium hydroxide solution. It's pretty concentrated. And that's way more than I wanted. Probably way more than I needed. So, you know, it's perfect. The great part about this is it kind of, you know, by doing this, it kind of forces the chemicals into the paper. At least that's my thoughts on it. I'm going to flip it over and add a little more calcium hydroxide to this side. Come on. There we go. And I'm only putting like 20 milliliters in the syringe, and I really don't even want to put that much in there. But I end up doing it. Now, when I do this on a regular soak, I'll use 120 milliliters of calcium hydroxide solution in the water. And 60 milliliters of methyl cellulose. And next we're going to add some methyl cellulose to this. Ten milliliters should be plenty. I'll go ahead and fill up the 10 milliliters I need for the other side. So I'm using a whole lot less of my resources by doing it this way. I use more soap, more soapy water, but that's not a big deal. The cost on that is almost nothing. Flip it and do the other side. Maybe. There we go. It does look like I'm going to end up with some stain here, but you know, that's the way it goes. It's hard to get all of the staining out on something like this. Maybe using this and then doing a Gellum gum would get the rest of the stains out. I don't know. And who knows, when it dries, the stains might not be there. I suspect they will be, only a whole lot lighter. The main thing is, does it remove ink into that? I don't think so. Okay, that's done. So what am I going to do next? Well, I'm going to take some of these old paper towels I have that I've used on comic books previously. I'm going to soak up some of the excess water off of the cover. And yeah, I know I don't have anything over it. That's okay. Toss that in the garbage. Where is my... I got to go to the other room for a second. I was not prepared. I want to go ahead and put this down. This is Polytex. And then I'm going to take a piece of this blotter. Whoa, I'm going to need a bigger piece of blotter. Fortunately, I have plenty of it. I bought like 6 sheets, and each sheet I can do 3 of these big blotter strips. Come on over there. You got a tear there that keeps trying to come up. It doesn't want to come off. There we go. Pull the Mylar off. Same thing I did before. I'm going to take some of this old paper towel stuff I have that I've used many, many, many times before. Get some of the excess water out. Another sheet of Polytex. Blotter, and I'm going to put this in the cold press for about an hour. Then I'm going to take it out, and we're going to do the leaf casting. This is the first wrap of that adventure comic that I told you I was working on, and here I had a nice big black splotch there, and I had a smaller one here. And as you can see, it's gone. So, I'll show you that in a future video, how I did that. Alright, it's been in the press for just about an hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. Now, on the front, I don't see any signs of color loss that weren't there already. The only bad part is I did end up with this separation here. But I kind of expected that to happen anyway because it was so weak. So we're going to do a little bit of leaf casting, and I'm going to separate it just a tiny bit. And I'll have to fix it again when I get to the front. But yeah, that turned out great, I think. I don't see the stains. Let's flip it over and take a look at the inside, partially because I want to look at the inside and partially because that's where I'll do the leaf casting. Now, I'm not going to make new pulp for this. I'm just going to use some of the old pulp I had. So it might not match up perfect, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. And wow. You can still see where it was, and that doesn't surprise me. But the fact that you can't see it from the exterior is a big plus. I'm really happy with the way this has turned out. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do any edge leaf casting or not, or the corners. I just mainly want to do the spine. So I'm going to separate it just a little bit. Maybe like that. Now, let me go get my pulp and we'll get started. Now the first thing I want to do is very lightly mist it with some water, and then I'm going to put a little methyl cellulose on it. So I'm about 1.5 feet away from the cover when I did that misting. Grab my methyl cellulose here. This is a little bit thicker than what I put on during my cleaning, and we're just going to go ahead and run that down like that. And the reason I went ahead and did that misting, well, that's not going to be right, was so that I could, let's pull this up a little bit if I can. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, the reason I did the misting was to ensure that I don't end up with any water stains on it again. I need to move this over so I can check the alignment. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's off. That's way off. We need to move this over some if I can. And the alignment here is off as well. This is going to be a little more difficult because it's got that tear that I do want to fix. Yeah, I might have to go ahead and add some pulp there because it looks like part of that cover is missing. Really trying to get this lined up just right. Okay, and I'm using the lines on my cutting mat to make sure it's square, or trying to anyway. I think that's good. It's and this, I know this pulp is way off as far as what I want, but it's going to have to do. And I would use my my vacuum, but I'm concerned with it damaging the cover, the exterior cover. We're going to have to cover some of that picture. We don't have a choice. Okay, let me run some down this side here. I didn't really want to do this. But we do what we need to do to get it right. Let me get my spoon. Flatten that out a little bit with my spoon. Got way too much water in it. Need a little more down here. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes, maybe 15, to let some of this stuff dry off a little bit. And then we'll come back and flatten out the pulp a little more. And put another piece of Hollytex on it and stick it back in the press. You know what? I need some in that corner too. That corner is going to give me trouble. And actually the whole thing is giving me trouble. It's not coming out the way it should. I guess I didn't let it sit in the blender long enough. Put some here too. I don't think I really need it there. I'm going to add a little bit there. See if we can't strengthen that that tear without using methylcellulose or not yeah, Tingujo paper. Let's see how that works. All right, we'll be back in a little bit when this dries out a little bit and press it down some with the spoon and see where we're at. Okay, it's not been that long, been a little bit of time. Let's see if we can't push this down a little bit. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of Hollytex on it. Now I don't know how good this is going to work. Actually, I think I might have messed it up. Ah, we'll be fine. If we gotta add more, we will. And then I'm going to take old paper towel. Get some of that water off of there. Look at all that water. Way more than we need. This is going in the trash. So what did you miss? I turned the whole thing over. You know, I put a paper towel down, put a piece of blotter paper down. I turned the whole thing over, peeled this off, paper towel, blotter paper. It's going to go back in the press. We're going to see how it looks after that. And I'll try to remember to turn the camera back on the next time I come over here. Alright, it's time for me to go ahead and trim this up a little bit. Start with this upper corner here. Get it nice and straight, right along the line. Ease that knife right down there. And I'll turn it. if I can. And we'll cut this corner down here that you can barely see. It's down there. Yeah, that didn't help much. It kind of ripped a little bit, but that's okay. It's a little ragged, but it's okay. Now we'll trim this one. Feels like it's still a little tiny bit damp. And it might be. I'll go ahead and press it a little more once I finish trimming it. And finally, the last edge. All right. I need to stop trying to cut the straight edge. Doesn't look too bad. Like I said, I think I'll stick it back in the press for a little while. But you can still barely see the watermark right down in here. So it didn't get all of it, but it got most of it. Now I need to clean this off. Not sure how I want to do that. Normally I would use a little water. Let's see if that's going to work. Oh yeah, it's coming off of there. I'm thinking I might want to go ahead and reinforce it a little bit on the back side here with some Tingujo. Haven't decided yet. Maybe. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the press for a little while. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. I don't see any color loss. So, yeah, I think it did well. The tear here sealed up nicely. You can barely see it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stick this back in the press for a little while. that's it. That's how I do it. It works for me, and almost no color loss at all. It's unbelievable. So that's going to be it for this video. Hope you all learned something, and I certainly did. And in the meantime, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you on Wednesday